Hello. Today I'm just going to redo a simple recording using the Boozang tool and show you how you can customize the different actions as we've changed the user interface a little bit, hopefully for the better. So bear with me. What we're using today is we're using the lab.boozang.com, and again I'm going to use form fill as I usually do. And what I'm doing is I'm hitting this address bar and it will bring up the application. And I'm going to start with doing a simple recording. So I'm going to hit the record here. And then I'm going to fill here. And remember, in this particular form, I'm using the tab key to separate the different entries as enter submits the form. And I'm hitting enter at the end. And as you see, I can use show users in DB and I see the user showing up and I can hide them again. Okay, very good. So I'll stop the recording. So now let's look at the individual actions. So if I take this first action, you see, it seems like it didn't register the event. No, it automatically converted this to a set event, which is just something that it's just more adapted for filling these dialogues in a stable way, to be able to fill these input boxes in a stable way. And if you want to debug it, you can simply double click and you can see it's being filled properly. One of the new things is that in the method here, which is basically the event, you can trigger the on change, you can trigger on change and blur, but you can also trigger on change and enter key. So normally when you record, it will capture your keys properly, but you can also, of course, take an individual one and change it accordingly. So that's one of the things that are really useful. The other things that we've also moved is, before we had a lot of details on each event. Now all the more complex things can be found in the kebab menu up here. So if you look at it here, you now have things like treat hidden elements as not found, which can be useful sometimes, that we don't try to click on things in the interface that are hidden. One of the places you want to do that, often it's totally fine, but sometimes it's good to do it because you might want, maybe it's waiting for some process and then it's going to become unhidden, but this is for you to play around with. The other thing is, of course, we automatically retry when we can't find an element. Sometimes you want to disable this, so use never retry on missing element. And then we have a kind of a special one, which is support set value on read only. And that's to be able to enter into a read only box, which very rarely should be used. It's just some very specific cases. And then we have some advanced features. I will probably cover this in a separate video. One thing that can be worth noting is, if I now go to the enter key I did when I clicked save to DB, I didn't use the mouse there. You see here again, instead of method here, you have a key method. And then of course, you also have more options. You usually want to use group. This is the typical thing. We emulate the mouse down, the press, and the mouse up, which covers most cases. But of course, you can also do something where you want to just do the key down, key press, or key up event. And then of course, the character key is 13. And if you want to emulate some sort of holding into Control, Alt, or Shift, you can set that here as well. And this is normally enough for most applications. One thing worth noticing is, if you hit the ... here, you might have some different options here. So that's always worth taking a look. And it's not so often you need to set these, and we try to keep it less complex here. So that's the change. So I hope that simplifies the UI a little bit.